just want to start this tutorial by saying that I'm actually Native American. I personally don't wear ribbon skirts. My choice is jingle dress. But if you're not Native, then you can run into some possible cultural appropriation issues by making this ribbon skirt. So just be aware of that. For this project, you'll need fabric and ribbon and elastic to elasticize the waist. I started off with 2 trapezoids of fabric. Each trapezoid should be smaller at your waist, and the waist would just be like whatever your waist is, plus a little bit for seam allowance. The typical go-to is a 1/2 inch for a seam allowance, or 5/8 really. I then decided how far up I wanted the ribbons to start and pinned the first ribbon down using a ruler to make sure it was an even height above the bottom of the trapezoid. I did this on both pieces of the skirt fabric. You want to make sure that you have color matched thread for all of your ribbons. This lavender color I don't have the best match for. I'll decide what I do when I get to it. But everything else is fairly color matched, and having the closest match will help the thread blend in with the ribbon and make it look a lot more seamless and professional. I first started sewing on the ribbons by doing a zigzag stitch, but I didn't like the way that looked. Just because other people did it doesn't mean that it's necessarily the best option for you. So I decided to just sew the ribbons on using a straight stitch on the top and bottom of the ribbon, trying to get as close to the edge as possible without having it too much of a danger of just ripping off of the seams, so that the thread really hides within the ribbon. When attaching all of the subsequent ribbons, just line it up with the top of the first ribbon so that all of your ribbons are touching. You can choose to leave a space between them, but getting this to look nice is a lot easier than having a space between them where the space has to be equal at all points. And you're just going to want to sew those on either edge as you did with the first one, and repeat this process for as many ribbons as you have. Once all of the ribbons have been attached, you will face the 2 skirt panels right sides together and pin along the 2 side seams. I then sewed a straight stitch and then a zigzag stitch in the seam allowance to be sure that the fabric would not unravel. I then folded over a space wide enough to fit elastic in so that you could run elastic through that. Some people call it a casing. And then sewed it with a zigzag stitch all the way around. For the bottom of the skirt, I simply folded it over approximately a 1/2 inch, I think a little less, and sewed that with a zigzag to, again, make sure that the fabric doesn't unravel and give it a nice clean look. I just want to note that I did cut off the excess ribbon hanging over the sides of the skirt when the skirt panels were sewn together. So since this ribbon skirt isn't made for me, I actually had it like clipped in the back here, and it's like elastic wouldn't be able to hold it up to my waist. And then I'm just wearing a concho belt that I have from my jingle dress regalia to kind of finish off that look. And you would just measure the elastic by pulling it around your waist and pulling it a little bit tight. Not too tight that it's gonna hurt you. You'll be able to feel it when you're doing that simple measurement. But if you are using measurements from someone else and you don't have them there, you can just take like an inch or two, depending on how big their waist is, off of the waist measurement before cutting the elastic, feeding it through, and then sewing it together once you have it fed through the casing. This is the final product of the ribbon skirt modeled on me. Obviously, it would probably look a bit better on someone that it would fit, i.e. not just gathered in the back oddly. But I hope that you were able to follow along pretty easily and had fun making this project. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you want to see more, and remember to like this video if you enjoyed it. I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.